Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to make this Moon Shadow Beaded Bead. We're actually using a core bead, and this is one of the tutorials in this month's subscription box. Super fun to learn how to do beaded beads, and this one is a really nice, quick, basic design that you can incorporate around tons of different sizes of beads. If you ever want to subscribe to the Best Bead Box Kit Edition, where you get 3 kits each month, go ahead and look below the video. We do a full list of all the materials as well as the links to get back to our website. Open up your boxes, gather your materials, and let's get started. So to start our beaded bead here, we have a 14mm round bead, and I'm using a Czech glass 14mm round. I have 4mm rounds, 2 or 3mm bicones, and I'll show you why it doesn't really matter. And then we have some 11 OC beads and our GemDuos. So from the start here, we're going to build 2 basically caps, and then we are going to seam them together with some right angle weave. We're going to begin with our GemDuos here, and I put 5 GemDuos, which are going to create that top cap, onto some size 6 white dragon thread with a size 11 needle, and I'm letting it drop down to the bottom of about 5 feet of thread, 4 feet of thread actually, and I'm going to tie that into a knot. Right over left, left over right. Nice knot there. Creates a little flower. These can be your earrings to match if you want. And we are going to step up right next to where the knot is from the bottom hole to the top hole of our first GemDuo. From here, we're going to go around and put our 4mm beads in place. You're just going to pick up one 4mm bead and you're going to slide through to the next GemDuo. I'm doing this in a different color just so you can see, but I'm still using that black because I like how the black bead kind of pops. And then it ties it in if you're using a black necklace cord, or if you want to just string extra black beads that you have into a necklace. I use some of those extra materials. And you're going to notice that you see a little bit of thread. Don't worry about that. And you can see that I'm starting to kind of bend those GemDuos down. Going next. Bend those GemDuo downs, going next, over to the GemDuo, over to that 4mm round. Nice tight pull, and see how that makes it into almost a cap already. From here, we are going to do 1, 2, 3 11-0, followed by your 2 or 3mm crystal. I'm using a 3, followed by 3 more 11-0 seed beads. We're going to go back through that 4mm bead from one side to the other, creating a little petal or a little loop. So simple. On to the next one, 3 11-0 seed beads, 1 crystal, 3 11-0 seed beads. Go into the opposite side of the 4mm bead that your thread is currently coming out of, and then into the next one of your GemDuos. If you can at the same time, go right on over into your next 4mm bead. Again, coming out the 4mm bead, we're going to do the exact same thing and go around to the next bead. Now, not only am I doing one of these, I'm going to do a second one of these. Now, those of you that are experienced beaders are like, why don't we just use one piece of thread and do it all? You totally can once you see and watch the next portion of the video. You can keep it all as one piece of thread, but I'm going to suggest that you put on another thread and needle. This one does not need to be nearly as long because it's going to be easier to seam the 2 caps together when you have the 2 caps versus going down the bead from one to the other. The other reason is because if your bead is slightly bigger or smaller than the 14mm that I have right here, you might need a different count of your beads in the middle when we do the X's. So see how we have 1 cap right there? We're going to do the other cap for the bottom. So I'm going to sit this down and we're going to do the same repeated cap. So as I start my second one, I actually had that brilliant moment where you're like, aha, yeah, duh. Go ahead and finish off that first cap, then you don't have to thread a new needle and you can just use the one that you're already doing. What I did was go after my last loop, went back through the diamond duo, went from the outer hole to the inner hole and tied the thread ends together, burned it down. Now I'm on to the next one with that same cord, going down to the bottom of the piece here, And I have way more thread than I need. But I'm going to tie that off again. And I'm not worrying about these ties and seeing that because we're going to use a head pin to hang this beaded bead down. You can put it on anything really that you want. But because we're hanging that down and we have a 4mm bead at the top and the bottom, you don't see it. If you're not going to do that, you could switch to black thread if you're using the same colorway. I'm using this colorway because it's easier to see than when you're working with silver and gold. From here, after my knot, just like I've been doing, I'm going to go from the knot here, right next to that bead. I'm going to go from the bottom hole to the top hole, and making sure when you do your GemDuos that they all sit in the same direction. So the flat side's all down, the rounded side is up. And once again, as we make this second cap, exact same thing. Grab a 4mm bead onto the next one, and then we're going to do our loops. So I now have 2 of these little flowers. You can see they're really pretty earrings. If you're going to do them as earrings and you want them to lay flat, I would suggest putting a 15-0 on either side of your 4mm jet round. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually use the head pin and put our crystal bead on. To begin, you can use a crystal or you can use one of the jet beads. I'm going to use a jet bead. I'm going to slide on my already finished bead cap here. I'm going to slide on my 14mm round. 14, 16, either of those will work. You can even go bigger than that. I'm going to take my other one, which has the thread attached, the second one, and drop that down through the middle as well, right there. So now that's just kind of hanging out. And all we're going to do is seam it up. It's really simple. I'm going to drop that last bead down. Starter thread's still there because we're going to tie onto it. Our other thread is down here coming out of the 4mm bead. And we're going to do really, really simple loop. Big enough to go around your cord end if you're doing that. And we're just going to go in here and we're just going to turn. That's it. We're just doing a turned over loop. That makes kind of that doubled bail right there. And nice and simple. Now our bead's not going anywhere. We're not going to lose it because sometimes your bead can spin around and then you might lose the hole. That's why we wanted to do this first. We're going to take our needle and thread and we are going to drop down through those 3 11-0s right after the 4mm bead. And we're going to exit through our 3mm bicone. Now, all we're going to do is seam it up. We're going to do a series of right angle weaves. If this is too far away for what we're doing, you just add a 11-0 before and after your crystal. I'm going to add 1 crystal. Then I'm going to go down to the crystal that's below. So I'm coming out the top bead cap crystal at the bottom. I'm coming out on the right. I added a bead and I'm going into the crystal of the bottom cap from right to left. Then I'm going to add a crystal and I'm going back through the first crystal from left to right. That pulls those 2 together and makes my bead cap seamless. Look at that. Now, how do I get to the next one? I'm going to go up through the 11-0 seed bead at the top here. Nice tight pull through the 4mm. And here if you want to add a little jazz and add an 11-0 or 15-0 between, you can, but I'm not worrying about it. Through the next one of your GemDuos, through the 4mm bead, rinse and repeat. So I'm turning it here so you can see it a little bit better. Go down through after the 4mm, go down through the 11, go through the 3mm bead, pick up another crystal, sew through the crystal that's on the cap end below, sew and add a crystal, and go back through that first crystal that your thread was coming out of. Nice and tight pull. From here, back up through the seed beads. Again, nice tight pull first. Through that 4mm bead, through the polychrome GemDuo, through the 4mm bead. We've got 3 more to go. And you can see what that does is creates a cage around our bead to create that beaded bead. If it is too, again, tight, too loose, if it's too loose, you just add a 15 or an 11, or add an 11 between those 2 crystals. If it's too tight, add an 11 before and after the crystal. So it's really, really easy. I love this one because it's really easy to change how you're doing it. So keep going down through your seed beads, out through the top crystal, add another crystal, go through that bottom one from the same side. So I'm coming out the left crystal there because I'm holding it upside down. And I'm going to go through that same crystal at the bottom from left to right, add a crystal, go through the crystal at the top from right to left. Nice tight pull for that right angle weave. And go through those crystals and seed beads, or through the seed bead rather. Nice tight pull through the 4mm, through the polychrome, and on to the next. 2 more to go to seam it up. All right, so we've done all the connections here, and I've finished this shaded moon beaded bead. We are going to go back through after coming up the 11-0 seed beads and go through the 4mm. I am coming back through the next GemDuo. I'm going to downgrade, going from the outer hole to the inner hole, right next to that thread end, and simply tie the 2 together. That's it. So, so, so simple. And again, it's really nice because this beaded bead can be done pretty much for anything. If it doesn't quite stretch the way that you want it to be, you add 5 seed beads. You can add 6 seed beads. It just creates this nice, simple net. The GemDuos are perfect for this. I like the silver that it has that little cap look. You just throw it onto a nice leather or cotton cord, and away you go with this nice Moon Shadow Beaded Bead. Thanks so much for joining me in creating this fun Moon Shadow Beaded Bead. It's really great to see and think of all the possibilities of all the different colors that you could make. Remember, if you want to check out the subscription box, go ahead and look below the video. There's links there to get back to our website, as well as that full list of materials. Remember, you can also subscribe and hit that little button so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for joining, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.